which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Newberry.
Here.
Browner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Lees.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Okay, I would call for a approval of the agenda as it is.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, so we have our consent agenda, has 7 items on it. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, so, Greg, you would like to start us off on? reports?
Certainly. Mike secured permission from Boomerang to set up the grass and leaf drop-off. I did want to confirm, was it a majority that wanted to do brush as well?
That was my motion.
Right, okay. So we're looking at signage. The camera's $1,250. It's on back order. I haven't placed that order yet. Mike's looking at fencing prices as well, and they've started to put the blocks in place on site. So that is moving forward.
What are we thinking on timetable for opening that?
Depends on if you want the cameras up or the fence up, or
You're not going to be able to get the cameras and fence up before you start, not this late. The camera's on back order and the fence, so not if you want to start this month. Or
So what's the fence thing that we're doing?
put a gate, shut the facility down, so when we're not there, we don't have illegal dumping.
I thought we said we didn't want to do that.
I was told to get a price on the fence for a card reader so the citizens could swipe and go in and dump and lock coming out.
Said it'll look at it.
Yeah, I thought we would look at it, but I didn't know we were going to do that.
That's all he's doing.
I'm not saying we're doing that. I was asked to get the prices and the
Get the
quotes.
prices, okay.
So until I get them, we don't know what route we're going with everything or where we're at with it. I'm just saying I'm working on the quotes right now.
We have
Okay.
one camera in place on the brush, but the second camera won't be in time. But the rest of it will be set up here, ready to go. By when?
I'm hoping by the end of the week that we got it all put back together.
Awesome.
But I don't know. I guess we'll have to make an announcement if it's ready and when that we're opening it back up. I mean,
A
it's fine.
couple
If you
quick
want to do that,
items.
just say October. Do you want to just say October 1st, then I know I'll have everything done? That'd be before we start getting tons of leaves.
Sounds good to me.
I can have, or Kelly or Katie can put a newsletter out saying it would be open on October 1st. Or on Facebook, I mean, or yeah, notice, that's what I meant, notice.
Social media, sign up for text messages. Just a couple other items. We got a notice on the 2023 annual dinner for the chamber. We had 1.5 tables last year. Those weren't filled up. I'm planning to just get one table unless I hear differently tonight. I was wondering who was interested in attending.
I'll be there.
October, I plan to be there.
1 or 2, Melanie?
Just myself, just one.
What was the date on that, Greg?
Oh,
I don't have it on.
It's October 21st.
something, no, it's in the new year. I don't think they had a date picked out yet.
Okay.
Oh,
Was that 1 or 2?
She said
Andy?
one.
One for me.
I'll do one.
Thank you very much. We had a good conversation with Shive. They're putting together some information, likely have them here at the first meeting in October, if not the second, to talk about the force main study. And we're going to meet on Monday electronically to follow up on that initial discussion. Iowa League of Cities is next week, Wednesday through Thursday. I believe Melanie is going, Ron, and
Kathy.
Kathy, and myself, and Kelly. So we'll be there Wednesday through Friday. I put some information out on the update on the Iowa Institute for Sustainable Communities. I'd encourage you to go back and look at that last week. They've modified the program to a degree. They pick a community or a few communities, and they're working with Clinton this year, and they will come in and do a multitude of projects within that community. If you're chosen, it does cost $50,000 though. But a portion of that, for example, could be the comp plan, which we have budgeted for. But bang for your buck, you do get quite a few projects done by having professors and students and folks from varying departments come into your community and work on multiple projects, 10, 15 projects within your community. If not, there may be a civil engineering project that we may be able to work on with them, perhaps stormwater as a side program if we're not ready for a full-blown program. So I'd encourage you to take a look at that, and I'd like to send a letter of interest out and at least a list of potential projects to the gentleman that coordinates that.
So how soon do you need all that?
I'll probably send the list out by email here pretty quick, but determination on which route we go, they'll start in the spring semester, but we'll need to make some decisions, and they'll need to see how many requests that they get for participation as well. So.
That's separate from the Iowa State deal we talked about.
Correct.
Okay.
There's several links and some information in the packet or from last week, and it's a good program. Participated before. There's several examples on the one link that I would encourage you to take a look at to see what other communities have done with that, and you really can get some bang for your buck. Anywhere from branding, comprehensive planning, engineering, preliminary engineering. It's not going to be a certified engineering plans, but it's something that's can be utilized for grants. It's sufficient for that as well. So, and they haven't done anything really down this direction. I believe they worked on one project in Washington, so they're interested, and worked with them before. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Mike, Public Works?
Just to touch back on the brush and the grass, just remember the board is up and the rules on making new signs. Brush is not 12, 14 foot long. It has to be cut to a certain length. It can only be so big a diameter because we're not allowed to dump it either. There was already 2 plastic trash bags this weekend when we came back from this weekend that somebody'd throw it in there with garbage. There's no plastic bags, no batteries, no tires, only biodegradable bags for your leaves and grass, just so everybody follows the guidelines.
Before you go any further, just real quick on that as well, on I guess a related topic, I did meet yesterday after the Solid Waste Commission meeting with Chad and Chris, and they're going to take a look at it, but it would likely be something like, a Tuesday and a Thursday, extended hours if they were to do it. West Burlington and Burlington are the only 2 that whose residents are allowed to go out on site as part of the current setup. They did actually cut back hours and will be closing at 3:45 to reduce overtime, just as an informational piece.
So Kelly, when you write that letter, can you make sure that you specify in there that, we're opening, but it takes certain bags, like degradable bags, and
Yeah, we'll make sure we
make sure that
include
people
the
are
rules.
aware
We'll do
that what the rules are.
Yep.
in
Press
this letter.
release like we did when we closed it on Facebook, and
Melanie had
Get
some
it
good
out.
ideas on the signage too. It needs updated and enlarged, so.
That way everybody's clear.
I thought it was the council's intention that people would know that if they dump stuff that they shouldn't be or whatever, that we will refer that to our police department. So maybe that ought to be on the signage also, something
It is,
saying.
the fines are listed, and first time fine, second time, I think it's all on the big board out there. I just gonna get a new one with the size of brush, what it's gotta be cut down to, and just a reminder, I mean, it's There was pictures you guys have seen, that what we come into, and that's just more taxpayers' money. My guys are standing out there tearing bags open and deciding what goes in our dumpster and what gets dumped out, because if we load it with the loader and dump it out there, the landfill makes them pick it up and throw it back in a dump truck, and it's just more time consuming. So if everybody just follows how it's supposed to, as smooth as we can get it running. Seal coating today got stopped from the rain, or they'd have been done with that project and had that over today. Water tower is being filled as we sit here right now. Hopefully by 8 o'clock it'll be full, and they'll be drawing their first back T sample. They'll have to pull another one on Friday, so by the first of next week, we should know that where the back T held and we don't have any leaks. And control people will be down next week to add the new equipment into the south plant so that the two will read together, so one can turn on and one shut off. And we may have to run by hand for a while out here on this one until we get all the controls and stuff lined up, but we are getting closer to getting that tower online. They have a punch list of many items before the project's completed all the way, but keep my fingers crossed. After today, we're actually putting water in it, so we're getting closer. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mike.
And then, just for clarification, we're gonna leave Mondays open for people that have no transportation to drop leaves off, that will pick them up at the curbside on Monday mornings.
Yeah, there's some dates. Kelly, do you remember what dates? Just certain times of the year we do that.
That's not changing.
That'll be the same as what it was before, yep.
Jesse?
I'll be opening up testing again for police officer. Academy will start in January, so it'll be in October when I'll begin that process again. That's all I got tonight.
Thank you. Sean?
Working on lawns. Had a nice little vacation of them, and then all of a sudden, with this weather, people are letting their lawns get long again. So just a reminder to the citizens, it's not time to shovel snow yet. Please keep mowing your lawns. Also, have a meeting tomorrow at SCC regarding the new student center with the contractor, or one of the contractors, I should say, just to go over some things on his list to make sure he's meeting building code.
And ABB parking lot got mowed today.
Yeah, ABB parking lot got mowed today. Police department, Chief Logan had a call over in that area and saw the lawnmowers, so he called me up and I went over and talked with them.
I was getting used to the palm trees.
Yeah.
Supposedly they were spraying it. I'm not sure what they were spraying it with, but it wasn't weed killer.
Miracle Grow, yeah.
Miracle Grow. That's,
Yeah.
okay. Kelly, anything? No? Finance, anything?
I spoke with Sarah, with the auditing firm today. She's gonna have a preliminary paperwork and information to me next week. Go over with her. I think that's about it.
Teresa, anything from you?
No, I'm quiet.
Oh, John?
I'm quiet too.
Oh, Andy?
I've got two thank yous to city staff. One, the sidewalks look really good that have been redone, so that's great, and a big addition over on Melville, so that's very nice to have. And number two, we haven't talked about it yet, but the trail grant that we just got, that takes that cost way down, so everybody that was involved in that, thank you very much. That's a big number now. That thing's almost all paid for, so great.
Kathy?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Well, I'd echo your thanks on the sidewalks, because I went past them, and they're really nice. All right, any citizens' inquiries, or I think maybe we'll talk later after the meeting here. Okay. Let's go into our new business. We have a resolution adding a firefighter, Denver Wyatt.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion on this?
He's at work.
What's that?
He's at work otherwise.
Call for a voice vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We need
Aye.
we need to do a roll call on
Do we?
the resolutions.
Oh, okay, sorry. Roll call then.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
Yes.
Motion carries. Approve an annual finance report for fiscal year 2021, 2022. You have a copy of that in your packet, online also.
Motion approved.
Motion?
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion?
I have one question. It's page 2, under all funds, there's a delinquent property taxes is shown as 0. Is that correct? We have nothing? Nothing delinquent?
But they don't report that. I've never seen where they've reported it to us, so.
Okay. I just remember seeing the list when the county sent it out, and there was, I don't know, 20.
I don't know, Kelly, did they send that, you get the property tax?
I just get what comes in. I don't know what's outstanding.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's always been 0.
I believe so, yes.
So is that something that we need to keep on the report? If it's always 0?
This is a standard state report.
Yeah, it's a state report.
Okay.
It's probably not always 0. We might double check that with the county, Angie. Because these are, I mean, I get receipts in for delinquent taxes, so I would assume that there are some that are outstanding.
Yeah.
I just have never
I've never
been on that end of it.
Never seen anything come
Interesting.
in for it or anything.
Question.
Any other discussion on this report? Motion and support then?
I'd just like to see if we could get that. I'd like to know that number, even if it's not something we usually include in this report.
Yeah, I'll email, the lady tomorrow, names off.
All right.
Treasurer's office?
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Going to our third item. Consider an application, for a 3-year right-of-way permit from Lisco.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion?
Why only a 3-year?
If the state code says you can't do it for more than 3 years unless you have a public hearing, so typically they want to just do a renewal every 3 years, as long as they have infrastructure in place in the ground.
I just wondered, maybe we don't know this answer. It looks like they're backtracking on their own line a few feet away.
It's a, it is kind of looks like they're backtracking on their new line, but it is a new service.
Yeah, it was just, they're not coming straight off. They're going up to the corner and coming back out and around.
Because I think that's where the PED's at. That's where their box is. They came out down to here, and I think I don't know that there's a box right down there where they're teeing off of.
Yeah, across the street.
Then they have to bore under a street, which is a lot more expensive for them to bore under a street.
I assume there was a
Yeah.
reason. I just wondered if we knew what it was, but.
I mean, they're tying into an existing box and having to come down, where, if you looked across the street, it looked like they just could come, it'd be quicker and easier, but then they gotta go under a street, and that's a lot more cost to them.
Any other discussion?
No.
If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Melanie?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's see. Our next one, number 4, consider the first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 79.1 12.000, the city code related to snow removal and snow emergencies. This is a proposed draft. Is that correct? No, that's exceptions, I'm sorry.
We're looking at, you want to, well, do you want a motion in a second first, or?
Yes.
Support, so we can discuss.
Do I have a motion?
Andy did. Oh,
No? No?
well, I thought Andy did.
Oh, I'll make a motion for discussion.
Support.
And you support. Okay, so we have motion support, so let's go into a discussion on that then.
Sorry.
So,
I thought you were-
a few quick things. The first item you have is the the draft ordinance and the changes for discussion, including the sections in highlight that Kelly had included. You have a memo on there as well. And then for informational purposes only, we've started to work on that sidewalk piece that was part of the discussion last week, and that's on there as well. We do have some concerns related to that still, basically related to liability. State code actually requires the sidewalks to be removed by the adjacent property, or cleaned by the adjacent property owner. But we do have some liability concerns that we wanted to touch base with the city attorney and the insurance on in regards to that ordinance. But we did include some sample ways in which we can address the issues that came up, whether or not council wishes to proceed. But that was simply to address the topic that came up, and council can consider that at a subsequent time. But I wanted to let you know that we were working on it. So it's really it's the emergency ordinance that's up for discussion tonight, which is the first item in the packet.
Just a question on the concerns. Is one of those concerns is if we're going to pile that snow on the sidewalks, that the concern is that we take the plow and clean the sidewalk off?
Well,
Is that one of our
it is for
concerns?
me, yeah.
Well, I mean-
Actually, it's still a liability concern, and the transfer of liability as well, but also liability if we are to provide exceptions to the rule and to state code. Now, we can't be more lenient than the state code. So there's a few things on liability that I'd like to clarify and clean up and provide back to council, give you all the information. But we did, Kelly found some samples and included some options, or some language in there regarding sidewalks. So.
Okay. Concerns, Andy?
I think right now my biggest concern with this as it reads there is a Broadway, and I went through and found a few others where there's business parking. And if we would call this during business hours, we're effectively shutting those businesses down. The majority of our businesses have their own parking lots, but anything out here on Broadway, a block over on Leffler, there's the barber shop there that doesn't have their own parking. Maybe some areas out by Bickles, back behind them, that use that little circle drive right there. Most of those have a little bit of parking, but not much.
There's never been a car there. They're always off when we're plowing.
Okay.
So how about over here on Broadway, when you plow?
There's one guy that lives up on top that's there sometimes, but other than that, the ones that have to call a cab to go home, their vehicles are sitting.
If you're doing it off hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm not concerned about
And most of the
that.
time, this snow emergency, like I said, it's gonna be early morning. I'm gonna call it, and it'll start, and we'll be in early morning and I'm not saying there won't be an afternoon one, but 9 times out of 10, we're in here at 4 AM usually,
Yeah.
pounding the streets so that when people go out their door to go to work, I got it cleaned up.
I guess what I would like to do from our perspective is codify that and say, those business areas during this time, I don't think we should be able to just shut them down and say we can't park in front of them. So I'd like to put that in there. Maybe it's commercial districts still don't have that if it's zoned commercial, but yet that oversteps really.
That seems a little overbroad.
Yeah, I agree. But
Right.
I was trying to, it's really here a couple businesses, one block up, one block over.
We could specifically list them. You've done that for other streets and different sections of the ordinance. We could just specifically list those exceptions.
And I might be missing some.
Right.
Just taking a
But
look.
it's hard to, other than a block and a half here,
Yeah.
there's not much other that would be affected.
And usually the problem with that up here is when we call that, we're in here at 4 AM, and that's when we're trying to go curb to curb, so.
Yeah.
And the businesses aren't open anyway.
Right.
Because that's the only time I got to clean this curb to curb that's why we're here at 4 AM.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Saturday or Sunday or during the week.
I just don't want the one time out of 10 or one time out of 50 that it gets called at noon and then I got to go tell the Broadway, well, you got to close down because we can't have anybody parking up front. And same with business I work for. Remax across the street, if we can't park there and work. So,
We could have an exception during the business hours, because outside of business hours, it shouldn't cause you any problem at all.
yeah, right.
But don't we run into that same problem with every person at their house, in their household? You know, they may work second shift, third shift, they may work first shift, they may, I mean,
I agree there's problems with all of that, and we're giving them an option to go park somewhere else, which is why I still may be a no vote on this even with this change. But I just know for sure we're shutting down these businesses. And in City Hall too, our parking's gone. So I feel like we at least need to put that in there and have a way for these places to stay open.
Just a reminder, this is amending the existing ordinance. So if, depending on how council chooses to proceed with this ordinance, this would amend the existing ordinance. If you choose not to do these snow emergency, we'll still need to modify the current code
Right.
as well.
Kathy, you also indicated that you had some concerns.
I think Andy covered them very well last week. It's just a few houses that don't have other options. I think we need to make some sort of exception if they don't have any other options. I just see problems coming that we're going to have to address is all.
Mike, how many people would you say you normally plow around? If it was a wild.
On an average, there's at least 20 cars scattered through town. That's all we're talking about. Like I said, I could do this now almost. It's that handful that on Broadway, there's a couple on Leffler, it's just scattered through town. And most of them where they're at, there are driveways right in front of their vehicles. So I understand you guys' concern, but I really don't think the issues you think are going to happen, or I don't think they're going to be there.
I think we need to do something. I just want to point out.
And if you go to the pool and just count the parking stalls right in front of the pool, right by West Burlington Avenue, there's more than 20. Like I said, we're giving them the option of a place when this gets called to go move them.
I'm trying to think. You're going to call it when, and when are they going to have time to go out there and do that? What's the timetable?
I can't tell you that. It depends on when the storm comes.
And that's my point.
But again,
That's their work
most of those
schedule.
had off-street parking.
Yeah, most all of them that are the problem have off-street parking where I'm running into all these cars that Treese calls me and said, why is all that frozen on that street? Well, I can't plow the cars when it's sitting there. And then, like I said, those people go park in front of their neighbors where it's clean, and then all that hard-packed frozen's left there on that block.
That's typical in my block all the time. And
Yeah.
if we knew ahead of time with their emergency, I think everybody on that street would be moved. And
Yeah, that's what I say. Everybody on that street has a driveway and a garage, and,
they just have multiple vehicles.
yeah, multiple vehicles. Like I said, I don't, I'm not saying there aren't people that don't have a garage or a driveway, but it's minimal.
It's typically about 5 to 10 cars after a snowstorm. I go out, or our police department goes out and tags for abandoned vehicles because they keep getting pushed snow around and they're not moving, and they have driveways and they just don't want to park their vehicle in their driveway. Maybe not a car they drive very often or whatever, but that's the issue, is these cars that are out on the street during a snowstorm and not getting moved in a timely fashion, and then we have all the snow build up on the roads. That's the issue.
Okay. Any other discussion on this?
Well, I think probably as we as citizens have a responsibility to the city, we're going to complain about our streets not being plowed, and this is the reason why, because all these cars that are parked and nobody takes responsibility for their own actions or cars and moving them in a timely fashion. I mean, KVUR and the Weather Channel is already broadcasting the amount of snow we're going to get 2 days ahead. So people need to get prepared. I know if I go to Hy-Vee and there's a snow coming, Hy-Vee parking lot's full with people getting supplies and stuff. So they can't think that much further ahead and know where they're going to put their car. You know, I don't feel sorry for the people that get plowed in because they've had ample opportunity to get it out. And then when they go to shovel the snow around the car, it's out in the street causing more ice and freeze up. So instead of making it easy and less painful for Mike and paying overtime for our guys to come out and plow our streets, now we got to come back and pay them again to do the job they should have had done the first time around.
Plus, it becomes a public safety issue with that hard-packed mounds of snow, and if they're moved and cars come flying down and they ramp off that and hit that, I mean,
we get accolades from Burlington residents who come out and drive our streets and say, man, this is awesome. Your streets are clear. Your alleys are clear. I think we should be our civic duty to help him out and move our cars. And I think there's a parking area out on Mount Pleasant Street by JJ Auto Sales that might have some places for parking.
and like I said, the last discussion, this ain't about Mike and Mike's crew. This is about, it's better for the citizens. I can come by and clean it the best I can, and you shovel your driveway out, and then when the vehicles move, I come by and throw it back up in your driveway a second time, and that irritates everybody more than anything. Or if you just leave it lay, I mean, move the cars, let me come by and clean it, and you clean your driveway one time and it's over with.
You must have heard my blessings.
Okay. Melanie?
Each one of you have hit on the points I wanted to make. I think we need to give this, put it in place, snow emergency, put it in place. Are we going to have to do some tweaking? Possibly, yes, and we do it. But let's give it a go. And each one of us as citizens take responsibility for our property and get off the streets for the couple hours when the snow emergency is in effect. We also give Mike the latitude to do it the first time, probably maybe, and decide he has to adjust things a bit the second or third time when the snow emergency is called. And we figure it out and we move on. That's all.
So I understand this is first reading, so I have no problems passing this and talking about it later. But could we have some options for what we're going to do out here on the commercial areas we talked about, even if everybody else votes a no against them?
Those can be brought back on the second reading.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, then in that case, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Crowner,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Newberry.
Aye.
Motion carries for the first reading. Okay, we don't have any old business, I don't believe, to be brought up. More citizen inquiries, so I would call for an adjournment.
Oh, so moved.
Support.
Okay.
Support.
Motion support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Well, we are now adjourned, and we're going into our work session.
Mayor, can we take a couple seconds?
Sure.
Smell Twizzlers.